a little bit about your dad?
Yeah, well, my dad arrived here in 1939 from Berlin. He was part of the Kindertransport, which I'm sure everybody has heard about. But he was smuggled out of Germany via Sweden and then came to the UK. And he was on his own. He was 12 years old. And he didn't see any of his family again. That was, they all died in the camps in Auschwitz.
Oh, wow. And what happened to your dad when he came to the United Kingdom?
Well, obviously he didn't have anybody. They put all the kids that were with him into a boarding school in Surrey, and he stayed there. By all accounts, because I've got all his papers, he wasn't treated very well. I think there was a lot of anti-Semitism still, even towards the children when they arrived in the UK. And when he was about 15, I think he went up to, he was fostered out to a family in Birmingham, and again, treated really badly. I think they thought he was some sort of, I don't know if you can call this for a male, but a young skivvy. Do you understand that term? That he was made to do things around, well, it's probably an English term, but he was made to do things around the house and work within the house. And anyway, he eventually managed to leave there, and he went into the British Army, and he was in the intelligence corps, and he went into Germany after the war to help capture some of the escaped Nazis. And we've got all his army records and all his letters, etc. For many years, we used to get a Christmas card from the intelligence corps, but that stopped when my mum passed away. But yeah, interesting backstory.
So, how long was your father in the British Army for?
A few years, I think. Yeah, a few years. But you know, and when he died, I mean, he died at the age of 39. He was very young. So to have gone through all that and still die young, I mean, you know, there were 4 of us all under 12. And he, I didn't know he was German until he passed away, and we found all the records. And there was, he did an awful lot for charity. He was the chairman of the British Legion. Do you know about that?
No. What is that?
Well, British Legion is all ex-servicemen and women who, not just in the wars, but after that, who've come out and they're doing a lot of charity work, etc. He was also the chairman of AJAX, which is the Association of Jewish Ex-Servicemen. And we used to do a lot of, used to help a lot with all the veterans, and go and visit some of the hospitals where people were rehabilitating because they'd lost limbs or whatever. So he did an awful lot. And I remember as a child going with him to some of these events, making sandwiches for 200 vets, you know, because we did a big gala type, well, not gala, probably a luncheon for everybody. So he was very, you know, very well thought of in the charity world. Yes. So, very proud of him for what he did, actually.
You should be. I mean, that's an amazing story that, you know, would be great to be put to pen to paper and get out there, because as we move forward in time, we have less and less of those men and women that served in the Second World War.
Yeah, we do.
Very few. And we also have very, very few people now that have even survived the Holocaust. Even if they were an infant, they're in their 80s now, and they may not even have any recollection of it, memory of it.
But some of them are much older than in their 80s. Now, for my second book, which is called Where in the Dark, I wrote about, it was based on a Nazi who'd escaped to America, of all places, and bought into a bank and was defrauding the bank. And he was, it starts with 2 Holocaust survivors receiving bearer bonds in the post for $1 million. They don't know where it's come from. but there's a relationship. There's something between the two gentlemen who are now in their 80s and this Nazi. And I wanted to, it was really, I don't think it's just me, but you question how it was allowed to happen. You question what was really behind everything that Hitler did. And it was all economy, but he needed a scapegoat, so he blamed the Jewish people. It's my opinion. I mean, you know, but it is historically factual as well. And I wanted to get behind the thinking about it all. And I actually interviewed 2 Holocaust survivors who have actually passed away since. And they gave me some amazing stories about what went on. Amazing stories. And have you ever heard of sorry, I don't know if we wanted to get into this conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you heard about the Hitler's Titanic?
No.
Nobody has. No. So by the end of the war, when the Germans were losing, he still wanted to have one final annihilation of the Jewish people. So he got thousands out of the camps and he marched them to the coast with the intention of putting them on the ship, 2 ships, taking them out to sea and bombing them so everybody would drown. But one of these gentlemen that I interviewed was part of that. But when they got to the coast, I'm not sure if it was the Americans or the British came over and bombed the ships that they were about to go on. And it's not well known in historical terms. I don't think much has been written about it.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, I hadn't before then. And there were some other stories, you know, as well that they told me. And I've tried to incorporate some of those in my book. But mainly I wanted to look at the psychology behind the people that did this. Whether, you know, and the question whether someone is born evil, inherently evil, or whether circumstances make them that way. So, you know, I interviewed a lot of psychologists. I do a huge amount of research for my books. So I need to get it right, you know. And as you can see behind me, I'm a book person.
I was going to say there's a lot behind you, a lot behind you.
Oh yeah, and it extends that way. So you know, it's really, I mean, books have always been my world. You know, I just always read. Yeah.
So what do you think the psychology of it is behind, and what have you gained by your research and stuff?
What have I gained by my research? I do actually believe that some people are born like that. I think they have it in them.